after this, I start to go to the school and I done my research, okay? Again, the work and the last interesting work I done, which is in a way connected with this theme, is the research and the art project. The name was Folie, or Folia, however you like. Folie, as you know, it's a building in 19th century, building without any sense, without use. So in 19th century Europe, because of Romanticism, the fashion was to create the fake ruin, or create the building without any sense. For example, in Potsdam, near Berlin, where was a Prussian Empire, in 19th century they built a mosque, but not the mosque because for religious reason. They built this mosque because of Oriental reason. They built it like a folly, like a building without sense. And you have a lot of fake ruin. So this fashion of ruin was the fashion of the 19th century. And I researched the concept of the romantic ruin together with Katarzyna Kosmala, professor from the University of West of Scotland, and some Scottish artists, Croatian artists in Scotland and in Croatia. This is from Potsdam, but near the Sanssouci, near the castle. And this is interesting because the concept of folie, the concept of what is important with this fake ancient Roman ruin, that this fake ancient Roman ruin usually was installed in the place which was out of Roman Empire, like castle in Germany, or you have it in Scotland. You know, normally you know that in Scotland there was a wall. There was Antoine and then later Hadrian wall more south. So the Roman Empire didn't exist. But they had this fashion of the fake ruin. And this photo again, let me go back from India, is the church in Mekloganj and the cemetery. Today, normally during the English British colonial time, but now this church and the cemetery can be read like a folie. They represent a folie. Okay, so this is a famous folie. It's a Dunmore castle. Dunmore was one eccentric, Scottish eccentric, and he created a castle like a pineapple, okay? And inside the building, inside, you have an octagonal space where it's again a pineapple. So it was a bizarre, completely bizarre. Nobody knows why. It's an 18th century castle, pineapple, Dunmore castle. So it's one example of this crazy building without sense. So some landscape again in Croatia with the ruins, and some of the drawing as I produced, you know, that the fashion of the ruins was very famous for romantic painting, for example, for Caspar David Friedrich, German painter. So in a way I recycled one of his famous painting with the ruin of the Gothic monastery. And you have, in this drawing, you have two elements. You have element of ruins, and you have a head of Avalokiteshvara, or a Buddha of compassion, made in this Tanka style, which I learned. And again, this is the mountain and place of the ruin. So I show you the few examples of from my artwork. I show you Olaf Aureliusson. So let me now go to conclusion, because I was quite long. I think in contemporary art, it's important to produce different art piece which is not based on the concept of representation, art piece which is not based anymore on a concept of channel, because all these concepts are historical and belong to one cultural concept. Now if we are dealing with a contemporary art, we are dealing with the concept of the third space. We are dealing with the magic. We create always magical space. I show you here the work of Olaf Aureliusson and Anthony Gormley. I could show you the Marina Abramovic, some of her work, some other work, to create a different space. Because this different space is, as I told, it's a place of continuous simultaneity. You can read the art piece different, and especially today, in the today world and the virtual reality, in completely different circumstances than the 19th century or 16th century. Our possibility to other reality, it's much bigger. So if we can create a virtual reality using, for example, a concept of real time, and when we go for a trip today or for a holiday, we are taking a photo in a thing which we call a real time. But what is that? This is a present. And we convert a present immediately to the past, posting it on Facebook. And we say it's real time. No, this is the transformation of the real time of the present into the past. So, present, which doesn't exist, and past, which doesn't exist. It exists only in the concept of virtual reality, which can be read also alter reality. If we have such a thing in the art world, I think we have to search also for alter reality and for the third phase. So that was enough. So if you have a question, I'm available.
I think we have time for just a few questions. Do you want to leave it to you to answer them? Or
What?
should I leave it to you to call?
Here or what? No. Yeah, however you like, you ask. Yeah.
Brilliant is the only word I can think of. I sort of feel like the shaman that has gone up and come back and has to respond in words. What I experienced today during the lecture. But today I came across by accident a phrase from Dante, Faust, in which he says, everything transitory is a simile. And somehow it comes to mind during your work. Do you relate to that phrase? Do you know what I'm talking about? And is that a little bit of what you're talking about? Everything transitory.
Everything transitory
is a simile.
okay.
In a sense, all of experience is transitory, right?
Mhm.
And then a simile of something constant. That realm, that third realm that you're referring to, do you see the relationship I'm trying to draw here? That what you are saying that is possibly the challenge of today's art is that realm that is, in a sense, what everything is a simile of. A simile being, would you like a definition of simile?
Yeah, please.
It is what something is like. Similar to a metaphor. So, do you see why I'm thinking of this in terms of what you are presenting here? This third reality. Is that third reality, that constant, that thing of which everything else that is transitory on Earth is a reflection of? Am I?
I mean, we can read this way. I mean, I use this epistemology of third space, but I could use a completely different epistemology. So for me, I had a problem because the faculty where I done my PhD was based on the tradition of Frankfurt School, and philosophy of this faculty was never had any connection with something which are not, let's say, based on Marxistic reading. And one philosopher, for example, who tried to teach about Rudolf Steiner, was moved from this. So I couldn't use another epistemology. I have to use this epistemology of third space. If you ask me personally, I would for my research, I would use the epistemology, I will use the concept of Uspensky. The concept of the music, which he used, and concept which was based on Gurdjieff, his teacher. So for me, it is more poetical. But if I done this, I will be observed like a charlatan, not like, not somebody who can write a PhD. So, do I believe? Yeah, I mean, everything what is like. I mean, now you ask me the question which is, in a way, it's philosophical. And the problem is I can answer you like a shaman. I can answer you like a person who was dealing with this reality, with this outer reality, through my performance and through the artwork and through my experience in Tibetan school. So I don't know how to answer you. I can answer you through my vision. What was my vision? My vision was that really everything exists in one point, like in Borges' novel. Everything exists at one point, and the beginning of my PhD, I wrote it in poetical way, but they didn't read this. I wrote about my day on the mountain, and I connect this day on the mountain with experience during the performance. And I present this day and this experience of the performance like the same time and space, like the one line which exists. But normally I wrote it poetically. Sorry, maybe I answered it. I'm not philosopher, so I can touch some, philosophical approach, but I'm not philosopher. Who is next? I think you were first.
Sorry, I'm kind of cold, so I'll project as much as I can. The question is, you talked quite a bit about the Tibetan Buddhist work.
Yeah.
And that encompasses a set of beliefs that kind of motivate that work.
Yeah.
In a way, it seems like you're suggesting something similar without a kind of set of beliefs like that, at least of metaphysical or religious beliefs. I'm not sure exactly what, it seems to be focused on experience, right?
Yeah, on my experience, yeah.
Yeah, but not on a set of beliefs as such. Am I interpreting you correctly?
Yeah. I mean, it's not my religious beliefs. I'm not Tibetan Buddhist.
No, I know.
Yeah, but
But in your work around the ritual and so on, with the animation, there's something there that does suggest, obviously, the importance of ritual.
Yeah.
But is it a ritual without a set of beliefs behind it that you are wanting to kind of continue or restore or whatever? Or is there some kind of...
Okay, this is a very good question. I like this question. I don't have a belief. I'm agnostic. Why I don't have a belief? Because I have one big personal problem. When I was 28, I had a group of friends, and we were visiting the place of, this term, place of power. It's a term of Carlos Castaneda. So we were visiting some place in the mountain. We had some meeting. In one moment, this group of friends recognized me like guru. So at the end, really, I was a guru of the cult. I had like a 20 follower, and this cult started to spread, and more people were coming. And then in one moment, I said, okay, I don't want this. I'm not a prophet. I cannot, believe. For me, this was funny, but I was observing situation every day. For me, it was like a first ethnographic research. And then in that moment, I really said to myself, okay, I can be only agnostic. I can deal with the belief. But in which point I can deal in the belief? Okay, now it's strange. I will quote St. Augustine. So St. Augustine said that it's not the question, does God exist or not? The question is, do we have a proposition to ask this question? So I'm always dealing with the proposition. Okay, when I'm speaking about astral reality or altered state of conscience, I had some experience, but I observe this only like a proposition, not that I have this like a belief. That's my position. I have a position of agnostic all the time. I think this is important. And then I can deal with a Tibetan Buddhist idea or a pre-Christian or a Christian, whatever. Because I think important is this proposition. Then we can speak about God or no, according to St. Augustine. I think I quote a right person. So this was my answer. Thank you. Who was next? Sorry. You. Okay. Yeah.
So my question is more about you as a maker of artworks, and
Yeah.
about the third space.
Okay.
Is there a possibility you have a third space which is in the process of making? Because before you lay the tents and drawings, I imagine you propose that's a limited space.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's another different third space when you're receiving an artwork from another artist.
Okay.
Do you feel they're the same, or that they're different, or are they going to exist, or one is informing the other?
Okay, this is a good question. Also, when I enter the other artwork of other people, for me it's the same. If they are really magical, if they are dealing with the third space, I participate in this artwork like a real. I remember once I was in Whitney Biennale in New York, and I saw one video installation of Marina Abramović. It had for me same effect. I was crying on this video installation, and the installation was like it's a famous Konto nas is the name, and it's like Računajte na nas. It's the song from Socialism. It's a famous installation. So for me there is no difference. Can be Anthony Gormley or my work. And at this point of view, again, I accept the Tibetan concept, because there is no artist and creator in the West sense. So there is a concept of master, but he have a assistant. So assistant paint, and then he come and just open the eyes. And who is creator? Who do? So in these terms, for me, it's the same. If I participate in the Olafur Eliasson installation, for me it's the same like the feeling, like the experience which I had during Tankalai, or during my drawing, or producing a site-specific installation and performance like Mirila, where we take a measure of the people. It's the same thing. And I think this concept of ego and concept of author in contemporary art is based on the corporative capitalism. It's also it's the tool, it's the organum of biopolitics. Because the concept of social worker and the new industry, according to Hart Negri, is the concept of cultural industry, concept of creative time, concept of leisure. And when you have this, you have a copyright and you have a concept of the social work. In how Antonio Negri had defined this in post-sport society. Who is next, please?
My question is like, given your understanding of these real space and presentation space and the third space,
Okay.
is it really considered, is there really a stark contrast between real and presentation space, given our intermingling with technology and the amount of data that we create every day? Do you think these concepts of how much we create unwittingly or we share and we present, are we the ones building the next pineapple mansion right now? Could we look at 30,000 years down the road, or however long humanity does? And if so, how does that relate to the third space being something to achieve as opposed to focusing on what is rare and there and being created all the time?
Okay, let's do maybe shorter. Shorter
So if we
question.
have so much information we're creating in those first two spaces, why is the third space the place to focus our attention when there's so much that is going on right in
In these two. In this perspective. Okay, this is the good question, because according. Okay, I explained that I took this epistemology from Soja. And Soja mix in his book, Third Space, Journey to Los Angeles, he based his theory on Lefebvre, on Homi Bhabha, but also on Foucault. Foucault, there is a famous essay of Foucault, Of Other Spaces, so I recommend it everybody to read. So, and some other. So I tried to simplify it. I made this theory more simple, understandable. So now if you ask me how I read this and how I see this, so the first space is the real space. When I say real, it's something which we can touch, which is tactile, okay? Something which we can see with the eyes and we can touch. And this tactile experience is not only one. If we go to second space, space of representation, we are in the imagination. For example, we take acid and then we have some hallucination. We have some vision. But it's not real. Why? Because we cannot touch it. Maybe we touch it if we took mescaline or something. Then we have a vision that we touch. But other people, if they try to touch like we, and they are not on mescaline like we, they will not feel the touch, okay? So it's the space of imagination, and they are all in we. All in we like a person. And the difference, the third space, why it's so different? Because the third space is based on everything which is real, everything which is tactile, everything which is imagination, but everything can be shared. Because I will tell you now from my personal experience, some of my experience during creation of Tanka painting, of Buddha, doing this endless million of lines, it's very boring, was absolutely the same like a teacher and with like experience of other scholars who are in the school. So, is it better now?
Yeah, it's an example.
Yeah.
I think maybe we'll take just one more question
Yeah.
and then wrap it up for the evening.
Yeah.
So maybe one last question.
Last question for you.
Yes. Do you think that humans have like an innate craving to access that third space, and is that maybe why people create images and art so they can crystallize it for other people to access it?
Okay, this is a very complex question. I think everybody have a potential, for sure. Every human being have a potential to create. And now you ask me, is it in human being this potential, and then we create religion or art? I think we have this proposition inside, for sure. But you know, now, if I answer this is also a complex question, because if I say you that there is a spiritual proposition in us, it's also a dogmatic answer, because it's proposed religious concept of God or religious concept of science. I grew up in socialism, where science took the rule of the religion, but was the same dogmatic. And I told you that my position is a position of agnostic, but if you ask me, yeah, we can have this proposition and then create religion or art, but we can just not use it. Maybe sometimes we don't see it, or we see it in different form. It can exist in another reality. Maybe we cannot remember. Once I was speaking with about reincarnation with one friend of mine. I had a friend. He was not only like old hippie. He was more than an old hippie, because during communism he lived in communism 20 years without any document. We call him Red because he slept only in the basement and in the loft. And he was always begging the money, and he was very good. He was excellent. One of the best ever hippie. which exists. And he started to smoke a cigarette when he was 3 years old. Why? Because he was from the region of Croatia where people had this relation with tobacco. So he was rolling tobacco as a child, and normally he died because of the lung cancer, okay? Because he started to smoke very early. So once we spoke about the reincarnation, then I asked him, okay, please tell me, Štako, Red, what do you think about the reincarnation? And then he answered me, you know, for me it's the same. If reincarnation exists or doesn't exist. I asked him, how is the same? Because, you know, maybe in my previous life, I was Don Quixote, or maybe I was donkey. But I don't remember. So for me, it's the same. So maybe this is the best answer to your question. Okay, thank you very much. And we'll take it.